You are tuned in to a live tribe session today where Mark and I are going to cover some key components of masculinity, nice guys, and sexless marriages. Three mindsets to regain attractive masculine confidence. What is confidence and how do you get more of it? Why confidence is more than just knowing how to do things. That's a natural one for a lot of men. It's more than that. Why is confidence so damn sexy? Hey, if you're not familiar with me and Mark, we both are associate coaches here at Good Guys to Great Men. We also have our own private coaching practices. You've got both of us on this call today as a bonus. Marriages end up sexless because she isn't feeling attracted to us. That is the most basic, simple concept that we have to really beat into our own minds because we overthink stuff so much. It really is that basic. When your wife feels attracted to you, her legs are open. When she's not, they're closed. It's not that there's problems that need to be fixed. It's not that there's something wrong with you as a man per se. It's really down to the fact that women do not engage in physical intimacy if they don't feel attraction. And this raises 2 points. All right. So the first point, are we being the best version of ourselves we are proud of? Because if we are showing up as that man, that we look in the mirror and we're like, wow, I'm glad that I showed up like that yesterday and I can take a lot of pride in what I stood for and how I behaved, then we have a serious decision to make. Because if we're being the best version of us, then we need to decide if we want to remain committed to a woman who isn't attracted to us in our best state. It's not that she needs to change and suddenly have attraction. We need to decide, why am I committing or chasing this woman who is not attracted to my best life? And so if we are not being the best version of ourselves we are proud of, then we need to level up as a man. And this is this season that a lot of guys are in when they come to us, and seasons that we ourselves were in, is that we knew deep down that we weren't showing up as our best self. We knew we weren't executing masculine confidence. We knew we were not leading the relationship. Deep down, we knew that the version of us that she didn't want to be intimate with isn't even the version of us we wanted to be. And so that's where the challenge comes in. For men that want to level up and become that man, it many times does raise her attraction when we do that. I'm going to talk for a bit about nice guys and sexless marriages. This is not stuff we just read on some internet forum and now we're giving it to you. This is stuff I've lived and breathed and experienced personally on how this dynamic can affect our intimate life. And there's some basic facts about attraction I didn't understand back in the day. Attraction is created from the tension of a man who can say no and who has boundaries. This requires confidence. And there's some lies nice guys tend to believe. These are the kinds of thoughts I used to have because I was a very nice guy in my marriage. Nice guys think when they're being stubborn that they're being confident. Nice guys mistake putting up a stink about what he doesn't like as being confident. And another lie that when we're in that nice guy phase that we tend to believe is we think resolving issues to maintain peace makes us desirable. We think that is the holy grail attribute that really sets us apart from those other assholes, is that we can keep the sea a smooth sailing place. And what does that do? It produces a lack of tension, a lack of erotic energy, and a sexless marriage. And we're talking about a very serious topic here. No intimacy in a marriage, like that's not fun, that's pain. That's a place of a lot of gut wrenching emotion. And here Mark and I are sitting here talking about it like we're telling you how to, I don't know, use an app on your phone. Like we're kind of lighthearted about this stuff sometimes. I don't want you guys to think that we're brushing it off as not being serious. It's just that we've gone through the mud and we've popped out the other side and we've learned the key components of regaining happiness and confidence, where this kind of stuff is something we do take in stride now. It's not as traumatizing as it was when it first hit our life. So the nice guy behaviors, that's the recipe for low feminine attraction. And that's why it's such a critical component of our personality to take a second look at. You know, guys, I'm going to post a link in the chat right now because that topic specifically about intimacy and leading in the bedroom, like that's not the focus of this live tribe specifically. I go into that a bit more in this ebook that is free on my website. Realize that attraction is not a choice. It's outside our control. Your wife cannot wake up one day and say, I choose you and I will be attracted to you. There is a dynamic within the male brain that we do many times choose something and then our feelings follow along. But that's because of the psychology of how a man's brain works versus a woman. She isn't wired like that. And so she can't help it if she no longer feels a spark for us. She literally can't help it. It's just how it is right now for her. What is inside our control is if we're living life on our terms as a confident, purpose-filled man who embodies the masculine life feminine is drawn to. Goes back to that thing again of like, we know in our gut if we're showing up 100% or if we have some growth to do. Confidence is the vital key to being a happy, attractive, successful man. It is so foundational. There's a strategic path to gaining masculine confidence. Guys who go through the Vital Formula to Masculine Confidence course that me and Mark teach together, these guys that go through this course start feeling a new kind of swagger after we get to about session 3, because we're starting to teach them some stuff in that session that gets into emotional confidence, some things like that a lot of guys haven't even dove into ever in life. And so as you can see on the side of the screen there, when we're taking guys through our strategic formula to gaining masculine confidence, we're starting with some very foundational, essential things that every man has to be razor sharp on. And it creates your framework that your behaviors stay inside of. We're getting you razor sharp on your values. We're teaching you how to have standards, right? Like I said earlier, a man who doesn't say no is not an attractive man. It's counterintuitive. You wouldn't think so. The nice guy is not the attractive guy. In our second session, we're getting into holding boundaries and the difference between being direct versus being nice. Because you can be kind. There's nothing that's a turnoff about kindness. There's a shift, though, between that nice guy behavior and just a man who's kind. And in the 3 pillars of confidence, those are 3 life areas that a man needs to be grounded in to have a full sense of confidence. And you guys are lucky today because Mark is going to give you some of our secrets and some of our material from that 3rd session in this call today. And it's going to be aligning with like some of the core necessities for that emotional confidence I mentioned. And also, we're going to drop some mindsets for you because that's in that 4th session we do with guys. We're really getting clear on what are the mindsets a man needs to live in to have self-reliant happiness. It's important. Our perspectives are dictating a lot of how we're feeling, and we have full control over that. That's how the confident man emerges.
So we've all heard confidence. We've all spoken about it, and we're all thinking that it's the panacea to all our relationship problems. And in part it is, because when we have confidence, things tend to look different. Our perspectives change. But there is more to confidence than what we think. Confidence isn't an arrogance. Confidence isn't just the swagger. Confidence isn't just a lack of fear. By and large, most people associate confidence with a lack of fear. If you're confident doing something, you're not afraid of doing it. That's part of it. This isn't about removing fear, because I'm not entirely sure that you can do that. And there's not anything inherently wrong with being afraid. Confidence is about doing something despite that fear. So if you're afraid of going on stage and public speaking, then it's not about removing that fear in order to do the task of doing a talk or something like that. It's about doing the talk despite having those fears. So there is 3 areas that are generally that we work on in terms of confidence. And all of this actually goes back to a very specific book called Confidence by Barbara DeAngelis. Now, she breaks confidence up into 3 areas. The first is behavioral confidence. Second is emotional confidence. And the third is spiritual confidence. We're going to focus on emotional, but I'll explain what the others are as well. So behavioral confidence, by and large, I'm guessing most of you guys here aren't going to have much issue with. Behavioral confidence is the ability or the understanding that if you don't know something, you can go out and learn it. All right. You can seek out information and improve yourself and learn new things in order to achieve what you want to achieve, or to do what you want to do, or to create what you want to create. The majority of men are pretty high in behavioral confidence. We understand that we have the ability to learn something. You all here are demonstrating that because you want to learn more. So you're seeking out that information and you're doing what you need to do that. Behavioral confidence isn't generally an issue for most of the guys we work with. Emotional confidence is a different story. I myself ranked myself, I think, at a 1 out of 10 for emotional confidence when I first started working with Dan and Steve. Emotional confidence is our ability to express what is happening inside us, what's going on in our emotional world at any given time. The main problem us men have with that is not having words to put to the feelings. We don't have a vocabulary. We are generally very binary. Okay? Imagine a binary switch, on, off, 2 states. Good, bad. That's generally what happens. Someone asks you, how are you? Good. How you going? Bad. That's it. We're happy, sad. Hungry, full. Sleepy, horny. That's it. There's not much gray area between the two. The truth is there is a sliding scale there. And this, if you look at a feminine perspective of emotions, for instance, it is absolutely non-binary. There is a million little increments between one extreme to the other. We also have that, but we don't have the language to be able to express that to people. So for instance, most of you haven't considered the difference between being frustrated and being angry, being jealous and being envious. All right? Loving something and desiring, wanting and needing. These are very distinct differences between those things. And we need to be able to put words to our experiences. And the reason for this is so that we can connect with other people, specifically with women. The feminine thrives on that conversation. She thrives on the tussle, the explanation, the exploration of what is happening inside us. In order to do that, we have to know what to say. And not in terms of coaching you on how to say things, but you need to be able to explain what is happening. How many of you have had the experience of feeling something in your body, something deep down, but simply not having a word to describe it? You just feel overwhelmed, but you don't know what's happening. So your instinct is pretty much to shut down. So you just say nothing. That is not connection. That is not going to create connection. It's not going to grow it, and it's not going to be the beginning of it. So emotional confidence is absolutely key to connecting with a woman. And it's about connecting to human beings in general. The third confidence is a spiritual one. The spiritual confidence relates to an understanding that regardless of what happens, you understand and you accept and truly believe that you will be okay. I want you to think about that for a minute. How would you be if you knew without a doubt that no matter what happened, you'd be fine? The majority of your fears would evaporate, wouldn't they? If you knew no matter what you did, there'd be no repercussions, that nothing could hurt you, nothing could harm you. You wouldn't have this thing hovering around you for the rest of your life. You'd be doing a lot more things that you've been holding off on. That fear holds us back. And the spiritual confidence is an understanding that whatever happens, you will be okay. Because it's true. The very worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to die, and then it's not going to matter anyway. Let's put this into perspective. So they're the three confidences: behavioral, emotional, and spiritual. Our focus today is primarily on emotional, though. What we're talking about is attraction, and attraction in terms of the feminine. All right. So has anyone got any questions around those?
Hey, Mark, Steven's got some comments in the chat there where he's asking, he says, I thought women hate men and find them weak if we tell them how we're feeling. We could bring that topic in right now because I know there's some perspectives we could bring to that.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw that chat. I need to remember to look to the left at my chat screen. Yes. Now, in part, it is true. Women don't, most women are repulsed by the masculine vulnerability. But we have to point out that there is a distinction between genuine self-reliant vulnerability and the vulnerability where we burden her with our problems. She's repulsed by the one where we burden her. She doesn't want to take on our shit. It's not her job, okay? She wants to be our lover, not our mother. If you want to remain connected to her sexually and sensually and maintain that polarity between you guys, you have to be able to take responsibility for yourself, and she has to be able to trust that you can do that and will do that. Vulnerability is key to connection. Without the ability and the courage to be able to share from oneself, you can't connect with another human being. There's nothing more powerful than sitting with someone. And we've all experienced this. Most of you have experienced it when you entered the group. That's why you entered the round table and things like that. At Good Guys to Great Men. The moment you realized, fuck, I'm not alone. I've gone through these things too. Some guy sat down with you and goes, yeah, me too, man. I know exactly what you've gone through. That's connection. For that to happen, we have to be able to be vulnerable and explain that. Now, for a woman, she wants to know what is happening. How many of your wives, girlfriends, partners have been harassing you to share what is going on, to open up to you? Yeah. All right, it's common. They want to know. That is how the feminine connects. What they don't want is to be made responsible for making you feel better. So the vulnerability you're talking about, Stephen, that repulses women is the vulnerability when we go to our partner or our wife and we say, you know what, honey, I've just lost my job. We've got no money in the bank. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do. What the hell are we going to do? You've got to help me. You know, we're going to be homeless. We've got nothing to eat. That's versus a man who comes home and he says, honey, I've lost my job. We've got no money in the bank. But for the next couple of days, I've got this plan in place. What we can do is ... I'm going to call my brother. He's going to lend me some money and I'll start looking for work tomorrow. Between the two of us, we'll handle this. There's a big difference there. The first guy is burdening her with all his issues and wants her to fix it for him. He's blurted it out in the hope that she's going to just say, yep, I'll handle it. You go and have a beer. Whereas the second guy said, you know what? We're in this situation, but here's what we're going to do. Now, that doesn't mean he knows what to do all the time, okay? But he has an understanding and he has ideas about what to do, and he's putting them into place. Then she no longer is responsible for him. She's a partner with him.
It's interesting how immediately our male brains go, oh, vulnerability, and we go to the shit. You know, I thought we're not supposed to open up the deepest emotions. And then what is it? Yeah, it's like, wow, I really felt insecure when you didn't compliment me on that. And yeah, I felt very unattractive when you didn't want to kiss me this morning. Like we always go to the murk, the swamp, the mud. Vulnerability for a confident man, he's also that man that walks out the front door of the coffee in his hand in the morning and says, wow, honey, look at that beautiful sunset. That really makes me feel warm inside. She didn't know it made you feel warm inside until you cracked that open for her. That's vulnerability. And a confident man doesn't give a shit if she likes it or not. She might go, I hate it when it's sunny. I always get a sunburn. It doesn't matter. The confident man is opening the window. Here's what I'm experiencing. Wow, I can't wait to go to that car show next weekend. I really love spending time with those old guys at that place. Well, I hate those guys that are at those car shows. I don't know why you have to go to those. No, we open our vulnerability. If we just keep those emotions of how life is impacting us to ourselves, she doesn't know the full gamut of what we are. And so it's not always just the deep shit that we need to be able to open and then lead, like Mark described. I lost my job. Here's the plan. But it also just needs to be about, wow, this waffle tastes amazing. I love it when you put that brown sugar in it. Or, you're just expressing how things are impacting you and you're using your words to describe the emotions. Because in the feminine world, it's all about emotions. That just is what she wants to hang on to, latch to, connect with. But there's a subtle difference again between the confident man that's just genuinely expressing how life is going for him versus the nice guy. He's trying to say what he thinks she will respond best to, especially if you're with a strong dominant woman who's like an alpha female. The nice guy tends to like walk on eggshells around here, like, well, I don't want to upset her. I don't want her to think that I don't like that when I know she does, and vice versa. And he has all this story he's playing out in his mind instead of just being an unapologetic man.